Hi, I'm Frank with Ricmotech, and welcome to this episode of Sim Racing Tips and Tricks. In this episode, we're going to take a G27 pedal set, and I'm going to show you the right way to take them apart. Whether you'll be installing a load cell kit, or taking them apart to clean them, or taking them apart to invert mount them, whatever the case, I'm going to show you the right way to take them apart so that you don't damage any of the internals, and I'm going to show you how to put it back together so that it goes back together exactly how the factory intended. So, if you're ready, let's get started. Let's take a look at the tools that we're going to be needing to take care of this job. We're going to be needing two different size Phillips screwdrivers, a number 2 Phillips and a number 1 Phillips. We're going to be needing a 2.5 millimeter hex wrench or Allen wrench, a magnet, and optionally some type of a container. Here I have a magnetic container which takes care of both. And lastly, we're going to need a cardboard box. Cardboard box approximately 10 inches by 10 inches by about 4 inches deep, or 26 centimeters by 26 centimeters by about 4 to 5 centimeters deep should suffice. Alright, let me show you how it all goes. We're going to begin by removing the pedal faces off the pedals. We use the 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench, and we're going to remove the 2 screws on the face of each pedal. We're going to take each screw and we're going to put it, we're going to attach it to our magnet, or put it in the magnetic container. Now we're going to set things aside. We're going to bring in our cardboard box, and we're going to invert the pedals into the cardboard box so they sit in there as a cradle. It's important that the pedals don't bottom out into the box but remain floating. This will allow us to take everything apart and all the internals will stay in their place for us to work on. We're going to begin by removing the black screws that are on the back of this unit. These retain each individual pedal in place. Go ahead and remove each screw and place it into the magnetic container, or attach it to the magnet. After all the black screws have been removed, it's now time to remove the silver screws. Using the number 1 Phillips screwdriver, I like to magnetize it a little bit, and that's where the magnet comes in. And just by rubbing it on the side of a magnet a couple times, puts enough magnetism into it that when we're removing the screws, it's very easy to lift them out once they're released from the plastic. So as you can see, the magnet attracts the screw and pulls it out. There are 2 additional screws here behind the carpet gripper that sometimes are concealed if the carpet gripper is in the down position. It could be easily released by pulling back on this tab, and it will snap back up out of the way. So now that all the screws have been removed, it's ready to take apart the cover. So we can turn it upright, and we're simply going to grab the cover from anywhere we can, and we're going to lift up on it. And as you can see, there's no wires attached to this cover, so we can simply set it aside, and now all of our internal components are neatly laid out inside, ready for us to service. If we're going to be installing a brake mod, we can simply lift out the brake, we can disconnect the wires, and extract the pedal to work in a clean surface. When it's time to put it back, the pedal sits into its cradle, the wires go back into their clips, and once you're sure that everything is back where it belongs, the cover can go back on. If you were going to extract all the pedals to invert mount them, such as into our RS1 rig, then these two screws can get removed. That will release the cable that goes to the wheel, and all the internals can be lifted out in one piece without even disconnecting any wires. Again, once we're ready to put it all back together, we simply lay everything in place, make sure everything is where it's supposed to be, and we put the cover back on. Let's take a closer look at what's inside and where everything goes. From this angle, we can get a better look at the internals, and you can see that all the pedals have a cradle that they sit in, all the wires have a notch that they clip into. This is so that the wires stay out of the way of any moving parts. This keeps everything organized. In other methods that you've seen online, when you separate the top and bottom half of the pedals, all these wires come undone, and there's no way to reach your hands inside and put them back in when you're closing it back up. With this method, it's very easy to lay everything back in, and once we're ready to put the cover on, the cover goes right into place, and there's nothing to mess with. To put this back together, the cover goes right back on after we've ensured that none of the wires are going to get pinched. We make sure that through these holes, the metal plates on the pedals line up with the holes. That'll ensure that everything is in place. And then there are 12 black screws and 14 silver screws that need to go back in. We're going to start in the reverse order, so we're going to take the silver screws first. We're going to magnetize the screwdriver. That'll allow us to put the screw on the end of the screwdriver, and we can simply drop it into the hole and screw it down. Now when it comes time to put in the last two screws that go behind the carpet gripper, you do want to take a little extra care so that they don't drop in. So I'm going to remagnetize my screwdriver again, put the screw on, and then I'm going to carefully guide it down into the hole. If it drops in, not to be worried, you can leave them in there for now. They're not going to cause any damage. Once we get all the rest of the screws put in, we can simply turn the unit upside down and they'll fall right out, and then we can put those back in at the end of the process. Now that we've got those in, we're ready to put all the black screws in. So we've got all 14 silver screws, now it's time for the 12 black screws. Okay, so all the screws on the bottom are in. So now we're ready to turn it around. We can get the box out of the way. And the last step is put our pedal faces back on. So let's take care of that. The pedal faces go back on. Default location is the center hole. So we're going to position all three pedals in that center position. If you had them in a different position, go ahead and place them wherever you had them. Then the longer screws go into the clutch and the brake, and we'll just start those by hand. And lastly, the shorter screws go on the gas pedal. Using our 2.5mm Allen wrench, we're just going to tighten them up. And there we have it, job done. Everything's back together the way it should be. There's no pinched wires, nothing broken, everything exactly the way it came from the factory. For more tips and tricks videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on our website at www.ricmotech.com or check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Ricmotech. Thanks for watching.